Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of Walkthrough Wednesday on the channel. Thank you so much for the support on the UK Hardcore from Scratch series. There's not too many tutorials out there on this kind of genre. Shout out to Jacoby, Mike Riveri, Joey Riot. There's loads of guys doing sick tutorials. But there's not really a big, vast amount like there is for Big Room. So I think it was really good to help you guys out and show you guys the side of a different genre, which I absolutely love. And hopefully it helps you guys out, helps you guys make your Big Room tracks, helps you guys do your hardstyle tracks. You hopefully picked up some stuff and some techniques from it. I will be releasing that track on Rave Room Recordings very soon. I'm going to try and lock it in for the summer. I think I can't wait to play it at a festival, you know, fingers crossed. Couple of things to plug. My new track Silence, which is, believe it or not, by the title, this is what we're going to go through today. I love this one. It's a bit techno, a bit Big Room. I think it's a great blend, and it's something different, man. What I want to do with the label and with my sound is to just do something different. Every track that you hear, I want it to be completely different. I want it to be like, whoa, what is this new sound? I want it to just be a fresh injection of Big Room. I hear a lot of Big Room releases nowadays are just the same thing. Nobody's really pushing the boat out. Nobody's really trying to do something new because I guess people are, you know, scared because it is a risk. You know, I was always taking a risk when I started the label, when I started switching my sound, but I knew it was the right decision when the major labels that I dream of releasing on, say that they like this stuff and the direction. So I've got some really sick tracks coming out soon on some crazy labels, so stay tuned for that. But we'll jump into this track Silence. If you want the samples from this one, if you want the midis, if you want to do a remix, whatever, on my Patreon page you can watch this whole video, all videos in full. What you're watching right now is the YouTube cut, so I always cut a section because I still want to give you, my fan base, something, but also my Patreon fan base supporting me financially through the hardest time ever, so they deserve more and I want to give them more stuff. Your support is amazing, whether you just click a song, play this video, whatever you do, I appreciate it so much. But the Patreon community is a small community that I want to give extra content to. That's why they get the full videos. That's why they get the sample packs and stuff. So from $4 a month, you can get all the videos, but I recommend doing $5 a month. You get the sample packs as well as the videos, including all these sexy samples right here. This is Silence. If you haven't already heard it, this is what the track sounds like. This drop is probably one of my favorite drops I've ever made. So simple, so basic, but it slams, man. It really does. So yeah, if you want the sample pack and you also want all these videos, go and join my Patreon page. The link is in the description. If you're a producer who wants to get on the label Rave Room Recordings, we also have a Patreon for that because I'm a sellout. No, it's because I really want to invest so much into this label, but I also need to eat, and coronavirus is still a thing. So I thought, why not take what I've gained experience-wise from my own Patreon page and try and set up a label-specific one. So if you want instant feedback on your demos, if you want to Skype with me and go through demos, if you want to see live streams and stuff where we do group sessions, that's where you want to be. Both links will be in the description. Right, I'm not selling out anymore. Let's jump into the drop. We're going to do drop 1 and drop 2. And then next time we're going to go into the mastering, into the breakdown, into the build-ups, all that kind of good stuff, because I think this is the thing probably most people want to see. So how did I start? I started with this crazy techno sound. A lot of people have actually, when I uploaded the video on my YouTube, people were like, we need a walkthrough of this. And I think most people want to know where this lead is from. This sick one. This is such a like old school rave techno sound, and believe it or not, it is from the plugin called Rave Generator 2. I believe this is a free plugin, and this thing is crazy, man. For the unique old school rave stuff, it's second to none. It really is amazing. And I found this sound called Party Children. Let's just duplicate this right now and put it on its own channel, just so you can see what the sound comes like before I worked my magic on it. So this is what the sound is like originally. I absolutely love this sound, man. It's quite housey, actually. Like old school ravey, like the UK ravey house stuff. I honestly, this sound is crazy. But I knew when I had that, I had something special. So I wanted to do this kind of cool house melody with it. And I was actually influenced by a track by... who's the guy? Fitzpatrick. There's a song which was quite big in the UK, and I was like, yeah, that's sick, but I wanted to take influence from that, and he uses an old school sound like this. So this is where the main sound comes from. Processing wise, we went from this to this. So as you can see, there's a lot of heavy processing, and what we've done is we've actually transformed the sound. With processing with new producers, it tends to just be take the sound and make it sound louder, right? That tends to be what people do. But as you get more experience in the scene, in the industry, you need to start transforming and effing up sounds, right? So I kind of effed that sound up, right? In a way that was distorted, but it was also clean. So let's go through the processing one by one. So I had this sound only. This is the only sound I had. Now I started to process it. Camel Crusher, as always, usually I don't like a distortion on Camel Crusher because I like to do it separately in Decapitator, in Trash, in 5 Filter Satin, whatever. But in this one I left a little bit because I knew I needed to mess up the sound. We've got the Blood Overdrive. As always, my first 2 spots are taken by these. See how much extra power we get from those 2 plugins. We have the Trash, which is very important too. I think it's only a slight distortion. It really pushes the sound in your face as well. This is a plugin that I can't recommend enough. We've got the Reverb, which isn't sidechained this time. This was... I don't actually know the reason for this. But yeah, I just wanted a huge reverb, and I think this one was the perfect one. Let's take the reverb and delay off. See how the Trash just gives it more dimension, basically. We've got some EQs as well, which I will turn off to show you the difference of what they made. Huge. So what I'm doing here is getting rid of the low frequencies and really boosting the high frequencies just to push it in your face. And as you can see, this was long before the Pro Q3. So I was using parametric EQ2. I think I made this at the start of lockdown, so I believe this is pretty much a year old now. This is one of the first tracks where I decided I'm going to switch my sound up because I've got nothing to lose now. So if it doesn't work, it doesn't matter. I'm not losing any shows because I lost them all. But yeah, this is what I wanted to do. Boosting the low mids, as you can see. No low frequencies because I don't want that at all. But I still want to give it some body. I still want it to sound full. Nice little cut of 1500 hertz there. And again, just a little lift on the high end, just giving it a bit more brightness, and again that pushes it in your face, right? Not too wide on the stereo imager. As you can see, I'm just slightly over the edge there. If you're going to do this, then your track's going to sound horrible on an iPhone. So I wanted it to be wide, but at the same time not too wide. Then we have the filter, which is used in the build-ups, and we have the delay. So the delay and reverb are very important. So the delay settings are these. It's on a 2 time signature, so it's going to go. It's always going to play off itself. Sorry. Cut off, not full. If it was on full, it would be very confusing because your ear then starts to listen to the delayed bit in the headphones. Whereas right now, when you cut off those high frequencies, your brain is focusing on the main sound, and those delays are in the background, which is what you want. You want it just to be in the background and make the sound more full. So that's the reason for that. Sidechain, very loose sidechain. Actually, we've got it on the quick chain, which is pretty much not sidechained at all, but it's just enough and not even on 100%. It's on, what are we on? 70%. So the reason for that is because the melody is on the beat. If I sidechained it more, it would sound a bit odd. Yeah, it's more pumpy, right? but it doesn't have that slapping effect, whereas it does now. And I noticed in the techno, I think it's Alan Fitzpatrick's song, in that one, it's very little sidechain. It's not like, it's just enough so that the kick can push through, but it's still there on the beat, right? So that was kind of the reason for that. I have this cool lead now, so I'm like, where do I go from here? Of course I tried a big room kick, but I thought it's just a little bit too, you know, big room kicks on their own without any cool layers to them, it's a bit basic, right? So what I did was I thought, let's go even more techno. Let's do the big room side of it would be the fills, and the other processing and stuff. You know, I've got a big room screech in there, so it makes you think, oh, this isn't actually a techno or a tech influence track. So I used a techno kick with some sharp top kicks, because in techno you'll notice it's quite like this. But because I'm an EDM producer and I want that EDM power, I made sure that I had a clicky top layer. So it now sounds more like an EDM kick, because it's important when you're trying to make a new sound, don't just go fully trance. You have to kind of balance it. You need to have enough of one genre and enough of the other genre to really make something fresh and unique. We have this knock, which I used in disco. Important to keep using sounds that you've used in your other tracks, because it shows your style. Same as Enter the Rave. I use the Enter the Rave wob. So now we have this kind of thing. So I had that, but I wasn't completely happy, right? I need some sub, and this is where I found this, which is a full-on techno kick, right? And I sidechained it to my kick drum that I made, which sounded like this. It's got a nice little offbeat. It's like whoomp, 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 which is really cool, especially worked because I have lots of gaps in the melody here, so I need to fill that gap with something, and that provided even more rhythm. So this is starting to sound sick already, and I'm like, yes, I know exactly what to do now. When I get an idea which sounds good, I just go full in on it. Let me just find, where is the main melody? So I needed some extra layers, so this is why I found this pluck. And the reason I wanted this one is because it has a really nice click to it. If you notice with the rave generator sound, it doesn't really have a good click or transient. In big room, transient is great, right? It's that sharp over-processed sound, whereas in techno they don't care about the transient as much. It's, you notice their kicks are quite rounded and warm. But in EDM, it's all about the sharpness and the power, right? So then I found this other layer, which is this one from June. Another pluck sound, but together they sound really sharp. And with the main sound, they sound really good. So now you've got a transient, and this sound is just completely new. You know, people are like, oh, where did you get this sound? And it's just by taking a little bit of like old school rave techno, and then you sprinkle it with a little bit of EDM transient, basically. So then we have this, and I'm pretty much happy at this point. I've got some reverb going on as well, which you'll see. I'm just trying to fill those gaps, and it's just this the way I always used to do it. This is before sidechaining the reverb. I just used to draw my own automation. So at this point, it's this much, and then I cut it out at this point. Then I what's the word? Exaggerate this part when it's empty. So this is what I did, and I just drew it by hand. As you can see, it's providing a little bit of movement. It's like it just provides so much energy and makes it less boring. Controls the reverb as well, keeps it tight. But what I do now is I sidechain it so that FL Studio knows when a note plays, the reverb doesn't play. so it allows me to get a clean but also super wet feel in the drop. So yeah, we have these elements right now. Just going through one by one, bringing everything in. Got the Enter the Rave wob, and I actually reversed it as well. So it sounded really nice, actually. I still felt at this point it was a little bit too tech or more down that route. It wasn't EDM enough. So what I decided to do is add a hardstyle kick because, of course, I love hardstyle as well. So that's another kind of genre to mix in. And it sounds so much more EDM processed, right? Because this hardstyle kick, it's over processed, it's crispy, right? And it just makes it sound, it's not what techno uses. Techno is, as I said before, more about the rounded sounds, you know? This hardstyle kick is so over processed in your face, but I think it works well. As you can see, the automation, I'm dipping it off.